You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
It wasn't pretty, but the Oilers found a way to get the job done, and they started the homestand on the right foot. There is a lot to get to today, including a wildly entertaining game on Saturday night. So let's jump into it with the lead. The lead is brought to you by our friends at Soho on Jasper Ave. Find them online, sohoyeg.com. How about their game day specials? Not only will the Oilers game be on a 100-inch screen, but there are specials on beer, half-price wings, and for just over $8, you can get a pint and a slice. And I've seen the sizes of their slices. They're rather large.
They're really good. It's the best deal going.
It's good.
It is. Head down to Soho on Jasper tonight to enjoy the game, or any night, because they also have great live music. The lead, hey, that maybe wasn't the prettiest outing for the Oilers, but they found a way to win. They didn't start great. They needed their power play to come and really get things back on track for them. But a win's a win. Fair, or should we maybe critique this a little bit more?
I feel like we would be doing a disservice if we didn't critique the crap out of this, because that is a win that we were lucky to get.
Lucky? See, and I wouldn't go as far as to call it a lucky win. You know, they played to their strengths. Their strengths just happened to be scoring a ton on the power play, and they got a ton of power
60 minutes of power play time, and the Oilers are an absolute juggernaut.
That's fair. Coombsy, what was your kind of overall impression of that win on Saturday night?
Chaotic. It was one that I don't think you're going to look back and be like, you know what? This was a dominant win. I'm feeling really good about the team going on a run. But to be fair to them, they've played a lot in the past month or so. It was 14 games in November. It's going to be another 15 games in December. They traveled out east twice in November. Look, 4 different guys from their top 9 forward group are hurt. A lot of these wins in this kind of softer schedule in December, tons of games against kind of mediocre teams. Some of them just aren't going to be nice wins. You have so many injuries, and you just have to get the 2 points, and that's kind of where I'm at with the Oilers right now.
Yeah, and that's where I came out on that game too. It's like, okay, like, yeah, it wasn't the prettiest outing at all, and a lot of things had to break your way, not just go your way, but you needed some breaks in that game to get away with those 2 points. But you know, they've had some solid victories. The comeback against the Rangers, the late game where they dominated the Florida Panthers and got the tie and goal late is what I was trying to say there. Like, those were both impressive in my opinion. And against Montreal, you just found a way to squeak it out. And sometimes that's okay. Let's get into our 3 big things from that game presented by Cornerstone Insurance, Edmonton's premier boutique insurance coverage, your destination for commercial, home, auto insurance with over 90 years of success and still growing. CornerstoneINS.ca. They insure the nation truck. That's how you know they're quality people. My first of 3 big things from that game, McPowerplay does it again. I mean, the narrative on Twitter is quickly shifting to he can't score at 5-on-5. He's outside the top 100 in the NHL in 5v5 points per 60. But I don't even view that as a critique, because find me any other player in the world who can take over the game on the power play the way Connor McDavid can. It's just his strength. And if you're going to give the Oilers power play, they're going to bite you in the ass.
I don't disagree. Like, you know, good teams have good power plays, and we also have the best player on the earth running our power play, and it's amazing to watch. But like, you play a team that takes away power plays from us, and quickly we are tough. We're easy to play against. We're easy to beat.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. Like, so like, yes, I don't mind. Like, I don't care that Connor McDavid gets most of his points on the power play. That's fine. But you know, there's a bigger kind of issue there. So
if I'm reading what you're saying correctly here, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, it's not as much of an indictment on McDavid, but the rest of the team needs to be better at 5-on-5.
Yeah, we just need to be better on 5-on-5 in general. And sure, yeah, McDavid does need to play a role in that. The whole team does. But, you know, yeah, I love that he's lethal on the power play. Don't take a penalty against us, because if you do, we're going to score. And that's great. But, you know, we got to get a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, that's fair. Little Monday morning roundtable action here. Coombsy on the far side. Connor McDavid. I mean, the game changed when the Oilers got, 10 straight minutes on the power play? What did you make of that Edmondson call?
The Edmondson play himself, like what he did in that period, was just terrible. It was like, I think when you're playing the Oilers, you should recognize, okay, this team has an elite power play. It might be number 1 in the league. I don't think they have the best power play percentage right now, but if you look at the skill, it is the best power play unit in the league. And your team's already down a guy. You're already killing a 2-minute penalty, and you're supposed to be that team's best veteran shutdown defender,
more or less.
And then you go ahead and take a 5-minute major and get booted from the game. Like, Edmonton's good power play is supposed to be a deterrent from opponents doing dumb things like that because they don't want to have to kill a penalty. And you look at Montreal's PK percentage before the game, it was I think it was ranked number 6th in the league. So they were one of the best penalty kills coming into that, and the Oilers still capitalized. I mean, I don't know if necessarily power play goals and points are worth as much as 5-on-5 points, but they aren't worthless. I think there's a deterrent that having a good power play should make teams less stupid against you. It should. In Edmonton's case, it didn't. But the reality is you have to score goals. You have to score goals somehow. It's not easy to score goals in any context. And I mean, having a lethal power play it's important. The Oilers need to find a way to score and they need to find a way to win.
It's a tool.
It's
a weapon, but we need more weapons.
They need more tools in the toolkit. And I think that's a fair way to put it, which brings me to my second point, which was the 5-on-5 play. Yes, the Oilers actually outscored the Habs at 5-on-5, but the shots were 26-15, according to Natural Stat Trick. The scoring chances were 17-16 for Montreal as well. The 5-on-5 play it's a legitimate concern right now. They're winning, and that's great. And winning off the back of a strong power play is not worthless. Power play goals are not worthless, even if random people on Twitter want to tell you that Connor McDavid's not that good because he just racks up the power play points and all of that stuff. But long-term success, to be a sustainable top-tier team at the NHL level, you need to be much, much better at 5-on-5. So who are you looking at on this roster right now and kind of going we need more from them? Because part of it is the top line and the big guns, sure. But I'm looking at guys like Nugent-Hopkins. He's scoring a ton, but when he's on the ice, they seem to be getting outshot a lot. The depth of this team is where I'm looking and going, man, the bottom 9, let's call it. They need to do a better job of not even scoring, but create positive momentum, set the table for the big guns at 5-on-5.
The people I'm looking at don't play on our team.
You're looking at players on other teams.
Yes, that's the issue.
Okay.
We need to address our depth, and I will not stop beating the defense drum. We need to address our defense.
You think it's like needing to add defense that can create offense?
No, we got lots of that. We need defense that can actually be defense.
I just feel like right now, and I kind of said this in my first point, it's hard to look at the team right now and be like, they need more depth scoring. Like, who are you asking that from? Like Matthias Janmark?
Yeah, they're not on our team.
Yeah, exactly. Those are your backups. Those are your call-ups. Like Kyler Yamamoto, Warren Fogle, Ryan McLeod, a whole bunch of guys are out. Evander Kane's out. Like, yeah, ideally you'd like someone to come up from the AHL and pop off with like a nice hot streak, but it's probably just not going to happen right now.
But let's go through the names. I will defend Matthias Janmark.
He has played well.
Clayton Costin's played well too.
He has played well, and
and
he would have made the team. It was just a cap thing. Like, he is actually a legit bottom 6 guy. That was one good thing yours done. Clem,
Mr.
Cleem. He shows some brilliance, but okay. You mentioned McLeod, who's been struggling this year, but he still looks like he's flying and can be a contributor. Fogle is still, he had a little hot streak there, but he was given a lot of opportunity. You can't say that he's really proven as a bottom 6 guy when he should be being paid as a top 9 guy. Yeah. I feel like there's some holes there that we need to address. Like, Brad Malone's our fourth line center. Yes, I like the energy that he brings, and hopefully people can feed off of that and the grit that he brings. But I think with our current roster construction, our depth scoring isn't quite where it needs to be in terms of the talent we have on the bottom 6.
It's also, I'm looking at the lineup you guys have posted on there right now, and it's kind of, given all the injuries and the situation why on earth is Dylan Holloway still on the 4th line? I mean, if you're not going to elevate him up the lineup when Yamamoto and Fogle are gone, when are you going to do it? Why is he playing with Tyler Benson and Brad Malone? That's a second line on the Condors.
I'm with you.
What is that?
If you do really think that there's more upside in playing Janmark there than there is on Holloway, I don't buy it. But I do wonder if maybe once they start getting healthier, they look at some different looks. And Liam, that's why I wanted to bring you in the show, because it's been 11 minutes and I haven't gotten your take on anything yet.
Hello.
Does this team have a legitimate depth problem, and that's why they can't score at 5-on-5? Or do you think there's reason to believe that, like, okay, if you had McLeod and Fogle and Yamo and Kane and those 4 pieces in the lineup, like maybe their 5-on-5 play would get better?
Yeah, I think so. Like those guys are NHL players, and right now the Oilers are, like Coom just said, the fourth line is essentially a second line in Bakersfield. Like I think they said today on the radio that Benson was going to be out of the lineup, and I would assume that's replaced by Yamamoto.
Yep.
But the Holloway thing is quite baffling, really. Like, what has this kid really got to do? He literally scored a goal last week and was involved in.
And then he was right back on the fourth line.
Yeah, didn't give him any added opportunity after that great game. It was weird.
Yeah. It's a very Todd McClellan-y thing to do to a young player, in my opinion. That's something we saw him do with guys like Puljujarvi and Yamamoto when he was first here. It's like, hey, they'd play a good game, and then, oh, one more mistake, they're back on the fourth line for good. And like, I just don't quite understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought Woodcroft would take more risks on younger guys right now because there's nobody else to really take risks on. And he has the experience of playing with most of these guys in Bakersfield anyways. So it's kind of strange, I suppose. But also to Coom's point again, like it's kind of what the hand they've been dealt at the moment. There isn't enough guys in the lineup to worry about this team's depth scoring, I don't think.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit of A and a little bit of B with everything going on in the depth right now.
But a little bit of C. Jacob Chikrin.
I can't believe I didn't see that coming. Wow.
Yeah, that was good. A good pull. The third big thing I had from the game presented by Cornerstone Insurance, the penalty kill can go to hell. And that is a line.
Shoot it off to the moon.
That is an old line from my friend Lowtide. It is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. They allowed another 2 power play goals against. In the month, or since November 1st, they are 30th in the NHL in PK percentage. I don't get it. Their penalty kill had stretches last year under Woodcroft where they were fine.
Automatic.
It was good. Their special teams in the past, with the group of players they currently have, more or less, has been a strength. And they just cannot figure it out right now. And the one thing to point out, Mike Smith was the #1 PK save percentage goalie in the league during his time here. Is it really goaltending, or are they just so broken? It looks like everything. Like, yeah, maybe you need a big save at one point. I think that Suzuki won the first shot. Probably could have been stopped by Skinner. But they are bleeding chances. They look very weak structurally. And I will still harp on this. They get the puck, and their first thought most of the time is not ice it. Their first thought is there a pass? Can we get moving up ice? And it's bit them in the ass a few times. Not just being committed to getting pucks out quickly has hurt them. Do you guys see anything else?
You just listed 10 things.
Isn't that messed up? Like, there's so much going wrong with this penalty kill.
I think it'd be kind of strange. Like, I mean, I'm always happy to give Mike Smith credit. I was a Mike Smith fan while he was playing here, and I think there definitely was benefits to having him being kind of a player coach on the ice, bossing guys around, shouting at them. But also you have a coaching staff. I mean, Dave Manson, we talked when they called him and Woodcroft up to replace to take over the bench last year. It was, these guys are like really good X and O guys. They're really good video room guys looking at like specific plays and like things to do. And it's weird that it just hasn't happened. Like, do you really need a player goalie coach on the ice to tell your guys
and Duncan Keith?
And Duncan Keith too. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I mean, there's no doubt that those are losses, but where's your coaching staff and the learning opportunities and the teaching opportunities we were talking about the whole time with the Woodcroft coaching staff? It's like, do you really need coaches on the ice? Is there that much of a disconnect between, before the game in the video room, on the bench, and then on the ice? It's quite baffling to me.
Yeah. Last year their penalty kill was basically league average. I'm kind of just looking at the numbers right now. If just losing, or maybe it's fair, losing Mike Smith and Duncan Keith, is that enough to take your PK from league average to league bottom? I don't know.
Hey, Chris Russell too. Don't forget him.
Oh yeah,
the best shot blocker of all time. I will say, I mean, I don't know if this is a significant game changer for the Oilers, but I did find it kind of puzzling that they opted to not bring back Russell and sign Ryan Murray instead. Just seems like, for Russell, for all of his deficiencies as a player, at least he was really good at one thing, and that was blocking shots, plugging up the lane, penalty killing. And you'd think they would just want to bring that specific skill set back, and he's not playing anywhere.
Last year, from the time Jay Woodcroft took over till the end of the regular season, they had the 10th best penalty kill, tied for 9th with Colorado, actually, at 82.1%. They were a top 10 PK. And somehow now they have just completely bottomed out. The Russell thing was weird, too, because we heard from the beginning of the offseason I remember Gregor had mentioned this a few times, that like, no, the organization has told Chris Russell they don't plan on bringing him back. And they let him know early, like, go find another team somewhere. We're not re-signing you. And then it was
surprised
weird,
no one signed him.
like at all. Especially just, again, you mentioned the intangibles that guy brings. You think if you're a team looking for a 7th defenseman, you'd love to have a guy like that around.
Yeah, that's who I would dress if I was if I wasn't the Oilers and I was playing against the Oilers. That's the guy I would throw in that game on the third pairing. You can play 10 minutes at even strength and kill all the penalties. You're going up against a good power play unit. That's the perfect spot for him, but no one seems interested, and I can't really wrap my head around it.
Super confusing that Chris Russell, who Liam, I know you love, is still sitting just at home without any sort of.
He was our cowboy.
Those are your 3 big things presented by Cornerstone Insurance. We are going to eventually move into a preview of tonight's game here on Oilers Nation Everyday, because it is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. But first, I want to head over to the YouTube chat, because I see the chat is absolutely buzzing right now. As always, Oilers Nation Everyday streams live on the Nation Network YouTube. Dr. Gonzo is in first. He gets the first comment of the day. He said the little yam that could is back. Yes, Kyler Yamamoto will make his return to the Oilers line tonight. Very excited to see that. Vince asked, is Hyman out? He did finish the game against Montreal, but then he didn't skate yesterday. And today was an optional skate as well. So unknown on Zach Hyman. We'll see.
Yeah, just probably some maintenance. I'm not too concerned if he finished the game. Like, what could have been the injury?
Concussion?
But he
wouldn't have finished the game, because I thought that too. But you never know, right? With the way symptoms can set in. So I would say game time decision is what I'm assuming the language is on Hyman.
I would just hope they err on the side of caution. If it means Zach Hyman has to sit out a week right now to make sure there's no concussion issues, let's just make sure he's here for the rest of the season. Like, that's a big long-term investment the Oilers have made on a player who's been fantastic thus far, and they do not want to mess around with a concussion. If that's what it is. And remember, this is just my speculation based on the hit.
No, but you're right. If it is, you don't want to screw things up. You want to make sure he gets the time and space he needs to fully recover, so there's nothing recurring happening. But yeah, he finished. Yeah, you're right. Like, concussions are an interesting thing, because things can kick in at different times. It may not be immediate, and that was a knock to the head that he took.
That was a hell of a hit too. That was a punishment from Edmondson. I don't know what Edmondson has against Hyman. That was intense.
That was a men's league coom hit.
Honestly,
mine unfortunately would come with about 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the offensive zone, though. That's the difference between me and Edmondson.
We're going to take the Edmondson topic, and I'm looking at the chat. Chris asked us, Edmondson rumors, are they just rumors? If you missed it, it was all the talk on Twitter. Arpin Basu, who covers the Canadiens for The Athletic, was on with Ryan Rashog, and he said if the Oilers wanted Edmondson, the cost could be Xavier Bourgault, Jesse Puljujarvi, and a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Not or, but and. Joel Edmondson, mean, physical defenseman, 1 more year left at $3.5 million. If the cost or the ask from Montreal was Bourgault, Puljujarvi, and a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Liam, I'll go to you on this one. What are you saying? If you're Ken Holland, the font size on your phone is 36, and you get the text from Kent Hughes that says, I want Bourgault, JP, and a 2nd rounder. What do you say back?
LMFAO, send. He's not better than Brett Kulak, and the Oilers paid less for that.
Yeah, Lagesson in a 2nd round pick it was for Kulak.
Yeah, like he's not as good. Now you want to give up your best prospect in Bakersfield for that guy?
Bourgault scored 2 last night, I think.
Yeah, and Puljujarvi? I don't.
Oh,
and another year?
The Puljujarvi value we can argue about, but
I would do the trade without Bourgault. Because Edmondson brings something our blue line doesn't have.
Maybe, but that offer is way too high.
Well, I'm not saying I'd say remove Bourgault. I would do a 2nd and Puljujarvi in a heartbeat for Joel Edmondson.
He has 1 more year on his deal, 3.5 mil.
So what's his next deal? Not going to be that much.
No, but what I'm saying
leadership,
is
former Moose Jaw Warrior, I might add.
Oh, well, there's the bias. Like, no shit. I wouldn't acquire a guy with term.
1 year left is term?
I would want a pure rental. To me, if you're the left side of your blue line
he brings identity to our blue line. Right now, people can just skate across the blue line with their head down, do whatever the hell they want, and somehow a high danger scoring opportunity just seems to just open up and be created.
But if you need a rough and tumble mean D-man, then just call up Marcus Niemelainen and play the 7 defenseman and use that strategy.
But has he been that this year? In every chance, like the odd time he hits, but like he's not the Niemelainen of last year where he had like 6 games and like he had like 10 explosions.
Hits, yeah.
Like that's not happening. So like maybe that's not sustainable in Niemelainen's game. But just the net front, like Niemelainen's still a toothpick. Like he's young and he's light. Like Edmondson's got that old man strength. Like I'm not like sitting here saying you have to do it, but like that archetype of player is something that we are missing, especially in our own zone. Like you need to have that threat. You need that sandpaper. You need that grit. You need that physicality, and we don't have it. And right now, sometimes we look like pylons.
If you're going to go out and get Edmondson or any defenseman with term beyond this season, then you need to trade Philip Broberg. Because if you're looking into at next September, going down the road a little bit,
like,
right?
Broberg is, I would trade. Broberg's got to be part of our Chychrun deal. Got a couple deals in the hopper.
Wait, how do you fit Chychrun in if you have Nurse, Edmondson, Kulak? So, I mean, I feel I don't disagree about adding Edmondson. I think the Oilers' blue line is soft as butter.
Yeah.
And they're probably very easy to go up against. Imagine cycling against that team in the offensive zone. It seems very, very chill, very easy. But someone on the blue line's got to go if Edmondson comes in, right? There's no room to add more beyond that. And I feel like the Oilers' blue line also needs defensemen who are mobile and good at passing.
Like, do I think Broberg could be a good NHL defenseman? The jury's still out. And he needs more time. And the thing is I don't think we have the time. We need to convert it into something that's producing now. So, like, to me, he is a movable asset if it addresses a need, especially on the blue line, especially to team toughness.
Broberg for Edmondson. You heard it here first. That's what you're suggesting?
Well, I won't do that. But I'm talking about the idea of parting with Broberg.
Because, again, my point was your left side, I think, next September should be Nurse, Kulak, Broberg. And if you don't
should it be?
Okay, but again, it's kind of almost like the Puljujarvi discussion we had last week on the show, where if you are not 100% confident that your blue line next season, Nurse, Kulak, Broberg, why are you holding Broberg? It's like
100%. 100%. That's the thing.
If you're sitting there right now and you're Ken Holland and you go, I'm not going to qualify yes Puljujarvi, there is nothing he can do to make me want to give him that $3.3 million qualifying offer, then you trade him now. And it's the same thing with Broberg, where like if you're actually the guy you picked 9th overall however many years ago, if we're getting to this point, if we're going to head into the 2023-24 season and you're like, we need to get a D-man with term, then if you have to ask the question, you know the answer. And you got to move on from Broberg, and then maybe you put him into a package to get someone better than Edmondson.
I think that's my thing too, is the players that they want, we should be able to acquire better players, right? For like a Puljujarvi, Borgo, and a second-round pick.
Yeah.
It should bring you back someone better than Edmondson.
I don't agree with the trade, like the trade.
But you like Edmondson.
I like that type of player being like, I'm just talking about bringing an Edmondson type to Edmonton. And the whole Broberg discussions, we do have to have that conversation because I think he needs more runway than what we can allow given the current state, like the fact that our window is open. Like the fact our defense are so easy to play against, that is not going to bode well in the playoffs.
So you think Chychrun solves that?
He adds to. He helps solve. He's
not mean,
but he's good defensively.
Is he?
He's okay.
I just don't know about him because he plays for such a useless.
I know
team.
Exactly.
He's never played a meaningful game.
That's not a risk I would take.
Yeah. I would. Well, if the ask comes down.
Yeah.
Then I would definitely look at it. But I'm talking about just adding, I'm now talking about adding an Edmondson type to the team. You need those types of players in the playoffs.
Smart Cowboy says Chychrun is a dead horse, too high maintenance. Rusty says Jay let go of Chychrun. It's okay to say goodbye. I don't think he's a good target for the Oilers.
What if the price is right?
Egan Huber says, do we have no patience in regards to wanting to move away a bunch of prospects?
Yeah.
I agree. You have to quote, I can't remember if it was Uncle Ken, over ripen these players. But right now, our window is open. So if it takes 3 years for Broberg to be the defenseman that we need him to be, we can't afford those 3 years because our window is the next 3 years. We have to actually start thinking about the time being now. So like, it's not saying Broberg, we're running you out of town. It's just like, Broberg, you need more time to develop. So let's give you to an organization that needs the Broberg from 3 years from now and trade in on that value now and bring in some pieces that address our immediate needs, because we are in a situation where if we don't make these adjustments, we're not going to be able to make any noise in the playoffs. And that's essentially what we need. We owe that to Connor McDavid. We owe that to Leon Draisaitl. So we have to go and be very critical of our team currently and figure out what moves we can make to address it right now, because now we need to set up this foundation for these guys to be long-term Oilers. And it comes from going deep runs consistently. And and we've got a lot of the pieces that we need, but we're still missing a couple. So we have to make those adjustments.
That also circles back to kind of what I mentioned earlier on the show, with it being shocking that these young guys aren't given a bit more leash. Like, I feel like right now I'd rather see the Oilers lose a game in November or December or whatever because Dylan Holloway made an error or Philip Broberg made an error and he was a -1. But you make those mistakes earlier in the season and then you see the improvement later in the year. And for me, it just seems weird these guys aren't playing more, because you have to see it. Because we said this before the season. There was for the Oilers to really hit their stride this year, they needed both those two, Broberg and Holloway, to work out, and they just haven't really been given the chance yet. I know Broberg, the thing is, he started the year hurt, so that's kind of being behind the 8 ball, but it's just perplexing to me the coaching staff doesn't give them more.
And, well, Broberg should be, I understand our situation, but, like, he needs to be in Bakersfield.
Yeah, if they're not playing,
Broberg, I think he's been fine.
If they're not playing big minutes here, let them play big minutes in Bakersfield. It has to be one or the other. They can't be sitting and watching from the bench. I don't think it's beneficial.
The NHL is not a developmental league, so either we're gonna say Holloway is deserving of a chance and move him up and give him more opportunity. I agree. Or we're saying, you know what, let's send him down and have him play 24 minutes a night and be a star and keep developing that way.
Yeah, and come up in March when you have more confidence. Come up like guns a-blazing after having a huge year in the AHL. Come up after the trade deadline if you maybe couldn't pull the trigger and acquire the player you wanted. You bring up your star from the AHL and then they contribute. Like, I just don't see Dylan Holloway or Broberg benefiting that much from playing 6 and 8 minutes a night, respectively.
Yeah, it's a disservice. Either you give them more opportunity up here, which I think with Holloway we should try, maybe not necessarily with Broberg, or just send him down. I know it's circumstantial right now. Like, we just have no bodies. We need bodies up here. So, like, Holloway's still up here, so we don't know what we have there. But, like, why don't we? Why you should be in the top 6 tonight?
I think you should.
I agree.
It'll be interesting to see what they end up
doing. He shows, like, you see the player there.
Oh yeah.
And, like, for him, it's just a confidence thing, and it's just making that adjustment to the NHL. Like, the tools are there.
That's why I don't want to trade either of those guys. It seems like the Oilers for so long didn't do well at finding players, later in those non-1, 2, 3 overall picks, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you got to put the effort in and bring these guys along because the talent is there and you can coach them to be the players you need them to be within your group. And to just trade them away after 2, 3 years to find someone a few years older, I just don't love it. Because the thing we thought
but
about,
not in the name of Broberg. You don't think, like, if it helped address our immediate need for defense, you wouldn't do it?
If you get a quality left D-man with term, Broberg should be on the table. But that's the only way.
It's just, it doesn't seem like there's that many names on the table that really, really make sense. That I'd rather just have them try and develop this guy internally, like, to become the Oscar Klefbom replacement. We all thought he was going to be that when they drafted him.
Well, let's talk about, like, it's a bigger issue than just that. Like, it's like right now we have to talk about it because we have to address this need. It's you see these other teams. You look at New Jersey, you look at Colorado, and they're getting these, like, cornerstone defensive defensemen for very little acquisition costs. And meanwhile, it's just, like, flying, like, under our radar.
The Josh Manson last year went for a 2nd-round pick and a prospect, which is the same as the Kulak cost. And is apparently significantly less than what it's going to cost to acquire Joel Edmondson for some reason.
So, like it's those little misses that, like, actually put the pressure and the timer on Broberg.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, it's a bigger problem, but the reality is this is what we have to deal with. So, like, what can we do? It's not about, like, I get it. Like, it's not about turning your back on them. It's just, like, if it turns into something that, sets us up for the next 2-3 years, that's very important.
Oilers Nation Everyday is always coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Christmas just around the corner, 20 days away, or a little bit. No, 20 days away. Yeah, 20 days away. That beautiful.
Is that Yaremchuk math?
Did you say 20 minutes?
25 minus 5?
20 minutes away.
I thought you said 20 minutes
25
away.
minus 5.
That feels like I'm going to blink and Santa's going to be here.
Sportscloset.ca. Math is hard, but they make Christmas shopping easy for the sports fan in your life. St. Albert Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, and Kingsway Mall. I feel like I messed that up. No, I didn't. I nailed it.
It wasn't math, so you
good.
nailed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was all good. Let's get into the Sherwood Ford Giant game day part of today's show. The Washington Capitals roll into town. They beat the Oilers back in November, but this is a Capitals team that honestly, there hasn't been a lot going well for them so far this season. They've been consistently banged up. They are struggling to keep pucks out of their net. Darcy Kemper's out for tonight as well, so we're not going to see their number one goalie. And they have been a horrible road team. Just 3 wins in 14 road games this year.
It just lines up perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone was tweeting me yesterday when the Oilers went down 1-0 because I said on the Saturday edition of the pregame show that I felt good about the Oilers heading into that game. And every time I feel good about the Oilers, they find a way to disappoint me. But they came through Saturday. They got their 3rd straight win on home ice. I think there's reasons to feel good about this Oilers team and this matchup specifically. Charlie Lindgren is expected to be the starter for the Washington Capitals. He has only started in 6 games so far this season. 3 of them sub 900. 3 of them above 900. He's a mixed bag. He's 50-50. And I think on home ice, where the Oilers have last change against a banged-up Washington team, who are also going to be without Martin Fehervy, among others, this is a matchup where I look and go, the Oilers should be able to get the best of the Capitals.
I mean, they should. Just like when they went to Washington, they should have beat them.
Their penalty kill shit their pants.
So
they gave up 3 or 4 goals on the PK.
Can't take any penalties. That's the rule. If you're the Oilers, your penalty kill is so bad, you cannot take a penalty.
And you need to draw 10 penalties.
That's where you're at. You have to out-penalty the other team by at least 5.
Yeah. If we don't have 15 minutes of power play time, we're screwed.
You gotta dupe somebody into taking a 5-minute major while they're already killing a penalty as the key. That's what I think the Oilers did really well against Montreal.
I want to challenge everyone tonight to watch Ovi on the power play. It is almost comical. He literally, you can just put a chair right at the top of the circle, and he will just sit in it and not move until the puck comes.
And then
to
most of the time when it's iced, he just moves back 15 feet, just enough to get on side. Then he's right back in.
He is just here to get that record. And then sometimes if they're playing it too much, he then just kind of goes just to the far post. It is funny to watch how little he moves on the power play, and yet he's still effective. You know what's coming.
Oh,
you know the Ovi one-timer's coming. It's that good that even though you're prepared for it,
and
it's tough
he
to
didn't
stop.
burn the Oilers with a one-timer last game, but he did burn them with just an absolute rocket of a wrister from the top of the circle.
Who lost the foot race with him? I can't remember who that was.
Did Kulak blow a tire on that player?
No, I think
Kulak
it was Bouchard.
needs new rubber.
Bouchard?
Holy
Yeah.
cow, does he blow tire? I think it's slowed down, but
It has.
man.
The injury report for the Capitals, buckle up for this. Nicholas Backstrom, Carl Hagelin, Tom Wilson, Connor Brown, Dmitry Orlov, Martin Fehervy, and Darcy Kemper. They are missing 7 regulars from their lineup tonight. One guy who is out, who I actually look at and kind of go that might be an intriguing deadline ad. Dmitry Orlov. He's been on some runs to the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some nasty physical bite to his game, and he moves the puck really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be really intrigued to take a look at Dmitry Orlov.
You have to think that the Caps are probably writing off the season to some degree.
Tank for Bedard?
Yeah.
Okay, we were joking about this
Yes.
before the show. Can you imagine if Connor Bedard landed on the Capitals and it's hey, generational centerman, here you go play with Ovi for the first 5 years of your career? That'd be unbelievable.
Well, I'm sure the Caps
I think it's a
would love to see
great
that.
fit. I'd love that. There's so many other teams when you look at the bottom of the standings where you think it'd be gross if Connor Bedard went there, like Arizona or Anaheim. It's Columbus. I'd really rather not see that. Vancouver.
Gross.
It'd be fun to see him play on a team like this and play alongside Alex Ovechkin for a year or two.
Ovi's
That'd be
definitely
cool.
good, even though I think the misnomer on Bedard is he's actually a sniper.
He is.
He's not a setup guy. So I don't know if him and Ovi should be on the same line.
Chris Peters, prospect guru, said Bedard's shot. He saw Austin Matthews' shot when he was 16. He said Bedard's shot at 16 is better than Matthews was at 16.
It is. That guy changes angle. It's
Rifles the
sick,
puck.
and it is zipped.
What about Michkov?
Man, him potentially to the Capitals would be...
That's cool.
Yeah,
too.
because he has that thing where he has 2 years left on his KHL deal after he gets drafted. So
3, I think.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Well, I think
Washington
Ovechkin has some influence
probably-
there, maybe.
Oh,
Well, they're kind of in a good
just look at
spot
his
to
Instagram
take him if
avatar.
he falls to them.
So that was the first thought that popped in my head when you said that was, man, if there was anyone who could get Michkov out of that KHL deal,
It's eventually.
it is 100%
Pulling a favor from umpire.
Anyway,
isn't he their draft pick?
who?
Michkov?
He's the guy that's
He's the
expected
number-
to go right behind
He's
Bedard.
the Eichel
No,
to
but-
the. He's the Jack.
Well,
he'll
gotcha.
probably
It's-
fall because he signed a KHL deal that was 6 years.
Oh, and
He
this
can't get out
was
of it.
so that's the video I saw of him taking his first skate with Ska. Or is this
Yeah.
the Caps
yes,
drafting?
yes, yeah.
And also there's Adam Fantilli in the draft, but this is an Oilers show, so
There's
we
so many
luckily
guys.
don't need to talk about the top
Hopefully
end.
not.
Yeah,
Don't jinx it.
Come on,
Don't jinx
But
it.
well, this goes back to I think the Caps are open for business.
Yeah.
I think they are, and I would be really intrigued with a guy like Dmitry Orlov if you could find a way to kind of make the money work
What's
there
his
as
cap
well.
hit?
5.15 mil, and the money's way lower.
I don't think they can eat the money though.
They have to get a third team involved and launder some money, but they never do that.
Yeah,
We always talk about that. Oh yeah, find a third team to get involved, but it just doesn't happen.
yeah, it usually doesn't work out quite that well.
$5.1 million cap hit, but the base salary is only 1.3 mil.
And how many years left?
Just one. It's over at the end of this year, and he has a 5-team no trade list. So
Package that up with a good veteran centerman like Lars Eller.
Oh, I have so much time for that guy.
You made the money work. Like they have a couple of intriguing options that
And just throw in Tom Wilson while we're at it.
yeah, something tells me they aren't too or aren't going to be too quick to try and move a guy like Tom Wilson, but things are not going well in Washington.
I would trade Borgo for Tom Wilson.
I would be on board for that too.
Well,
and
yeah.
Puljujärvi on a second or a third.
Yes. I'd probably even go first.
Yeah, maybe two.
I'm glad you feel that way, Liam.
You're a big Tom Wilson guy, hey?
Hey, if we're talking about someone being gritty for the Oilers, I think
And
Tom
can
Wilson.
score.
Yeah, Tom Wilson brings that.
throw him on the
So,
blue line in the penalty kill.
may as well.
Maybe a nightmare in front of the net for the other forwards to deal with.
The Washington Capitals on the special teams are very good. Top 10 penalty kill on the year. They've been consistently top 10 as well. Not really much of a hot and cold team. So that could present a challenge for the Edmonton Oilers this evening, but it is worth noting when Darcy Kemper's in net, he does help them a lot and masks a lot of their issues. This season would be going.
Why didn't we sign Kemper? It's the same deal as Campbell. Just hypothetical.
I think that's a really fair question.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, because there was talk about the Oilers being interested in trading for him before Colorado traded for him in the previous offseason. And then there just wasn't much talk about it this summer. It was kind of just like, Campbell's the Oilers guy. It's going to happen.
Well, both were predetermined, like well in advance. Campbell 5x5, Kemper 5x5, Edmonton, Washington. Let's move on.
Let's get to the Sherwood Giant keys to victory tonight for the Oilers. The Bison Mask guy is in on the YouTube chat. Says Oilers need to be smarter on the power play. Can't afford to give up. Smarter on the PK. Can't afford to give up many power play chances. Too many chances on the Oilers when they're on the power play or when they're on the penalty kill. Yeah, got to clean it up. Got to clean up the PK.
Math
That's a short
supports that statement. Also, the eye test does.
Yeah. For me, my key to the game is going to be Kyler Yamamoto. Actually, he's back in first time in 11 games. He's going to be in the lineup. Let's see if Yamo can be that little buzzsaw. If he plays with McDavid and Draisaitl and moves Hyman down the lineup a little bit and gives them a more well-rounded top six, there's a chance for him to make an impact that way. Or even if he's not on that top line with 97 and 29, go be that little buzzsaw, honey badger, Kyler Yamamoto that we came to love. Create some energy, create some scoring chances. And, he was struggling before he got hurt. Show us that you're healthy and ready to be impactful. So my Sherwood Giant key to the game is going to be Kyler Yamamoto. Liam, what do you got? What's your key to the game?
The Yamamoto one's a good one. It's funny, we keep talking about the penalty kill, and they're actually barely ever going to the box the last few games. They're only giving up 3 penalties a game, which is
but we're still
a lot, and we just can't do anything.
Got to get that down to 0.
Horrendous.
Yes.
It just shows how bad it is, I guess. I think just a good defensive performance is kind of something I want to see tonight.
Yeah.
Just kind of dial it in. Obviously Washington has guys who can score goals, but it'd be nice to see them not make us just think about how is this going to end? Just have a comfortable victory, I suppose.
You have that statement, but I see what's already set up on the screen here, what your bet is for the game. So that's a very...
We'll get into
I
that.
mean,
we'll get into that.
just I have to question that.
You always got to bet that when the Oilers are playing.
Oh, of course.
You can drop your keys to the game, Sherwood Giant keys to victory in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to a few of them. Coombsy, you got a key to victory?
I think a key to victory it'd be nice to get a depth goal. You have the Yamamoto one there. Let's see if how about a key to victory for me then is Dylan Holloway actually getting some ice time and driving some offense. Maybe on the third line. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Outplay Washington 5-on-5.
Be the better team at 5-on-5.
Be the better team.
If they're the better team at 5-on-5, again, I know Charlie Lindgren was good that last time they matched up, but if you're the Oilers, if you win this 5-on-5 matchup, you pepper him with shots at even strength. If the play is in their end more than it's in your end, I'll go ahead and say they don't just win. They probably win pretty handedly tonight.
I would agree.
You mentioned the Oilers and their penalty taking. They're actually the second most penalized team in terms of time shorthanded on the season. And in the month of November, they were 10th in the NHL in penalties taken per game. So it's a little bit of an issue, but you're right. There's too many games like Montreal where they actually do stay out of the box and then they go give up 2 shorthanded goals.
I just looked at the last 3. So against Minnesota, they allowed 3 power plays. They scored once. Chicago, they went 4 for 4. And then Florida was 1 for 4. So the last time they allowed 5 penalties in a game was the Islanders, and they lost 3-0 and had a shorthanded goal scored against them, but no power play goals scored against them. So the one night the PK is good, the power play lets them down. You can't win. You truly cannot win right now.
Check paycheck.
Agreed.
Smart Cowboy, stay out of the box. Best PK is the one you don't have to play, and I love that. I think that is very well put. Smart Cowboy also predicting a Clip Shady dropping of the mitts.
He's been getting engaged. He was going after Revo, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in that mini game.
I feel like there's a. It's percolating. I agree. We had like our actual fight this year, like an actual.
Fogel tried, but
yeah,
that's the only one I can
suicide.
Oh man, when he set Holloway up to get killed.
That's the only one I can think of. Niemelainen turtled when he tried to fight after he laid out Ekholm. Not been the same since.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about Niemelainen. I think he can be silenced.
You can't throw your.
Puljujarvi's been credited with a fight. Oh, Nurse
on Edler wasn't technically a fight.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to hockeyfights.com,
just one.
The only one this year was Jesse Puljujarvi versus Kiefer Sherwood. I have no memory of that happening.
It's because it wasn't a fight. It was absolute BS.
It was
under a minute to go left in the third period. That was the game where they beat Nashville handily, right?
Yeah.
3 or something.
And then Kiefer Moore went on waivers. Kiefer Sherwood went on waivers the next day. We punched him out of the league.
Yeah, maybe Yessa gets into a fight too. Maybe he's the new.
Well, he's been more physical. Like the one thing I'll give Puljujarvi credit is that he's just leaning into the physicality and checking of his game, and with that body of his, it can be effective. So I'm happy with what he's doing. Now, is that a $3 million player? Absolutely not. But I'm happy that it's contributing.
Between the pipes tonight, we mentioned Charlie Lindgren for the visitors. Stuart Skinner is going to be getting the call once again for the Oilers. I think it's the right call. I had that Arizona game pegged as when you give Jack Campbell his next start. Easy matchup. Team that doesn't score a lot, doesn't generate a ton of offense. Cross your fingers. Give Campbell the easiest matchup. I love that they're going back to Stu tonight.
It's effectively like sending him to the AHL.
Do we want to talk about the waivers thing on the show? Did you talk about that on another show before?
We've talked about it. Why? Are you a fan of that?
I think it's a fine idea. I think he'd obviously clear through. And my big worry is that they're going to play Skinner too much and run him into the ground.
Yeah, I think you're hoping that by the time that happens, Campbell's figured out with a few more NHL starts.
It's just at this point, honestly, it's kind of bizarre to say this, but you feel better throwing Calvin Pickard into a game right now than Jack Campbell.
Probably.
Well, we should probably give him some reps anyways. Did we not notice, though, on Saturday night, and it led to a goal, that Skinner was giving up some big rebounds?
There was the one goal in particular where he just kicked it out.
And it almost happened. He did the same thing again. It almost happened twice.
Still finished the game with a 909. Still got some nice top
You know what? Anything with a 9, I will take these days.
That's all the Oilers ever need.
But that's not a good thing. That's the whole thing.
But that is a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
This team's built to outscore their problems in a way.
But that is not. That's a regular season.
They literally made it to the conference finals by just scoring a shitload of goals.
Hey, Mike Smith had some big games.
Mike Smith had some massive
Game 7
games.
against the Kings shutout.
And we had Duncan Keith.
They also had a game where they won despite Mike Smith giving up a goal from the other end of the ice. So don't say that in the playoffs they couldn't outscore their problems. They did. Mike Smith gave one up on the ice against Calgary. They were down 2-0 immediately.
And then we played the Colorado Avalanche, and then it couldn't. We got into one track meet with them, and after that we were getting contained.
Yep, that's fair.
Want to know why? Because they have defense.
They do.
Let's get into our Betway bets for this evening's game. I'm going to wrap up the show with that because I just realized we are going very long on today's program.
Let's
but
go.
We love it. The chat is buzzing. Bunch of people watching.
It's a effect.
It is all
Come
great.
more
It's the Coombsy effect. I like this kind of 4-man panel we have going on too. I think this might be like a
panel, you say, eh?
Oh, is that a tease for something we might be working on? Liam, what do you got for the bets tonight, courtesy of our friends at Betway?
Well, the one Jay spoke about before was the over.
Alluded.
A little spoiler ahead of it.
It's called the tease, Liam. They taught us that in broadcasting school.
6-1 Oilers.
6-1 Oilers.
Low scoring game. Let's go. I guess low
only-
scoring for the opponent.
And then, I mean, Draisaitl, if he's playing with McDavid, you got to take him at plus money, right?
Well, and if we get a power play.
Yeah, or just anytime he's on the ice with McDavid or
that guy is on fire.
He's buzzing. I was looking at Hyman too. He's like plus 125.
He's due.
Yeah,
I'm all over the Hyman. That's one of my favorite bets tonight. Sorry, is Hyman to score.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
If he plays.
Is there a bet for Ovechkin to score a power play goal? That seems inevitable.
You can get, how about OV and Draisaitl to score at plus 200?
I think that's
and couple that with an Oilers win. I think you can get Oilers win on a pre-built, Oilers win, OV, and Leon to score.
Oh, but then what if you're rooting for that OV goal late? That's.
I think Ovechkin's going to score a power play goal like 5 minutes into the game. We're all going to be so mad, and then the Oilers are going to wind up winning the game.
I'm going to look for this bet.
How about this one from Betway? The first goal of the game from either team to be a power play goal at plus 175.
That's an interesting one.
That's tempting.
Like if Oilers to win, money line, Connor and Ovechkin both to get an assist.
Ovechkin. I feel like it's automatic.
Okay, Oilers to win money line, Connor and Ovechkin both to get a power play point.
Whoa.
Plus 450.
Woo!
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Spicy.
That is delicious. That's what I like about Betway.
Who's reffing the game? Is it guys that call a ton of penalties?
Can Surveyor Brett give us the scouting the refs report, please?
Yep. Brett's got to be in there, and he'll probably know who's reffing.
Ovechkin, Oilers to win, Ovechkin and McDavid both to score, plus 550. I think there's some goal and scores tonight. Could cash into something real nice.
For me, I love the Hyman goal. I think that is a great spot. This one. I think Evan Bouchard shots is another area I'm going to go because
he didn't hit it last game.
He didn't hit it last game.
He had
but
0.
Exactly. So he'll be itching to start pumping pucks on net.
Is it plus money again?
Yeah, it's plus 125. I think.
That's nice. That's a juicy.
So Liam is going with Leon and the over. I'm going to take a Hyman goal, Bouchard shot prop, and the Oilers on the puck line. Those are going to be my 3 big plays tonight. What do you like, Genjay?
I'm definitely doing Oilers money line with the OV and McDavid power play point.
Okay.
I think that's fun. I'm going to sprinkle just because he's had a tough start. He's coming back from injury. Let's get a Yamo goal. Not only does Yamamoto need that, like I think we can collectively say we all need that.
Yeah,
be really good to see him get one. So I'm gonna try to manifest that, and then I'm gonna dig around. I'm gonna do Oilers in regulation because it's minus 106.
Puck line plus 160. Come on.
I might sprinkle a little on the puck line.
Puck line sprinkle. Let's go.
Another good place to look is former Oilers on Washington, and they have that D-man that they never signed, Eric Gustafsson. He's probably going to score a goal.
There you go.
I have the officials for this evening.
Okay.
Furman South.
Never heard of him. Next.
Averages 2.9 penalties a game, which is 26 in the league. Sorry, 3.6. No, first one.
Okay.
No, second one. 3.6, 28th in the league. The other guy, you may have heard of him, Chris Rooney.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
4.2, which is the third most.
Ooh, that's the Corey Perry pad guy, right?
No, you're thinking of Graham Skilleter, I think.
Am I?
No, I think it was Rooney.
Was it Rooney?
It was Rooney. Let me Google that.
Wasn't it Ryan Kessler?
Yeah, the Ryan Kessler pad grab.
Sorry, but there was a quote where someone says, "What am I going to tell Corey?" That
Oh,
was
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Hot mic?
Yeah, it was. Referees were Rooney and Francois Saint Laurent.
There you go. We got score predictions in the chat. Lance says 2-1 Oilers. Smart Cowboy says 3-2 Oilers. Tyler's in and says, damn, missed this episode on my way to work. Hope it was a good one. If you miss any of the episodes, they're available in podcast form. So search Oilers Nation Everyday wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or just go to YouTube and click play.
Or you can watch it again. But I'm just saying, some people drive around for work. They can't always sit and watch a YouTube video. So the podcast version is available. It's an option.
It is an option.
couple of people predicting a Yamo breakout tonight as well, which I don't mind at all. I think we'd all love to see that. Shout out to our friends at Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. That's going to be a wrap on a little roundtable edition of Oilers Nation Everyday, coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. If you enjoyed the show today, hit the like button before you close your window. Hit the subscribe button on the Nation Network if you haven't already. Shout out to Liam, who did a fantastic job with all the graphics, our technical producer, Alex Lard, and all of our wonderful sponsors, Soho, Cornerstone, and Sherwood Ford the Giant. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Mountain Time. Talk to you then.